with the former Mars Wrigley site.
A concerning new report that Chicago parents find themselves sacrificing financially to pay their heating bills.
Plus, an important note about property tax payments. All right, let's catch up. I'm Terrence Lee.
And I'm Sylvia Perez, that is, and we begin with breaking news. A shooting near St. Sabina Church on the city's south side. Chicago police say a man and woman were inside a vehicle that was shot at while traveling on 79th and South May. The 26-year-old woman was shot multiple times and was taken to a hospital in critical condition. The second victim was shot twice, is reportedly in good condition. Their car did crash into another vehicle, but that driver reportedly refused medical attention.
Investigators found a possible ransom note in the Nancy Guthrie case. It's day 4 now in the search for Savannah Guthrie's mom. You know her, the Today Show co-host. Kaylee Schuyler is in Tucson, Arizona. Kaylee, what can you tell us about this possible ransom note?
Hi, Terrence and Sylvia. The Pima County Sheriff's Office says they're aware of it and they're taking all tips and leads seriously. TMZ and a few local news outlets say they received the note through email and then turned it over to investigators. The note reportedly is asking for millions of dollars in cryptocurrency in exchange for Guthrie. The outlets say it also includes details about the crime scene and Nancy that's not public knowledge.
The local authorities notified the FBI of it, and we are working with them in any manner they choose. But remember, they're the lead right now, and we have to respect that, but we are there to help them in any way we can.
This morning, the sheriff's office released a statement about reports. They're focused on a specific suspect, saying in part, quote, "At this point, investigators have not identified a suspect or a person of interest in this case. Detectives continue to speak with anyone who may have had contact with Miss Guthrie." Nancy was last seen at her home in Tucson around 9:30 Saturday night, according to the sheriff's office. She did not attend her Sunday church service, and by noon, the family was calling 911. Yesterday, investigators were flying a helicopter pretty low around her home, and the sheriff says investigators have fully processed the whole house and have turned it back over to the family. They've also examined DNA evidence from the scene, but nothing substantial has come out of that yet. Investigators are looking for any helpful video, but that seems to be difficult because the homes in the neighborhood are very spread out on big lots, and one man who has lived in the area for 5 decades say they don't have street lights because they don't want them.
Sky is one of the most perfect skies to be seen in a neighborhood in the country. And so people like dark skies and aren't really afraid of the dark.
President Trump says he called Savannah Guthrie and says that he's willing to send in more federal agents to assist with the search. And as of now, right now, the next update from the sheriff's office is scheduled for tomorrow at 11 Mountain Time. But tonight, a local church is holding a prayer service for the family. In Tucson, Arizona, Kaylee Schuyler, Fox Chicago.
Thank you, Kaylee. We have breaking news. Indiana Governor Mike Braun has ordered flags to be at half-staff throughout the state to honor longtime Congressman Lee Hamilton. He reportedly died earlier today at his home in Bloomington. He served southern Indiana for 17 terms. His tenure lasted from the mid-1960s to the late 1990s. Hamilton was at the forefront of congressional opposition to the 1991 Persian Gulf War, waged by President George H.W. Bush. He helped oversee investigations of the September 11th terrorist attacks. In 2015, President Obama presented him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He was 94 years old.
All right, this looks like one of those low-energy winter days. Emily, is this more of a looks worse than it is kind of Wednesday?
I don't know about you. It feels pretty low energy to me.
Yeah, I'm tired all of a sudden.
Me too. Yes, the skies are gloomy out there. We have some lake effect snow showers that have been taking place. And at this point, some of the heavier stuff that we're beginning to see showing up on radar was over in northwest Indiana and Lake County. You can see stretching from Gary down toward Merrillville into Lowell. That's where we're seeing some of that lake effect. Even seeing some right here in the Chicago area as well. That's going to continue for a few more hours. And then we should start to see that tapering off going into tonight. Your temperatures currently are sitting in the mid-20s for a lot of us. We are up to 29 degrees in Aurora. Same thing at Midway. 27 in Gary. It's down 25 degrees in Waukegan. Here's where we're headed tonight. It's going to be another cold night. We'll have low temperatures that are going to be in the low to mid-teens. But looking ahead, we have a really nice warming trend at the end of the week where temperatures are going to be in the 40s. Those details coming up.
All right, thanks, Emily. Galewood residents are meeting tonight to talk about what happens to the old Mars plant.
They're pushing back on a proposal they say goes too far. Casey Cronus has been following this since Monday. What's new, Casey?
Hey, Terrence and Sylvia, longtime Galewood residents say they want to see that 20-acre site transform into a community hub. But a developer has proposed close to 500 residential units, something neighbors fear will cause overcrowding.
My thoughts is where are you going to put all these people with the schools that are around here and then the new development that's going up on North Avenue in Harlem.
The old Mars plant is situated along Oak Park Avenue between the Metro tracks and Armitage Avenue. We've obtained renderings of what the developer, McCaffrey Interests, is proposing. The plans call for 150 senior living units, 197 apartment units, and 132 townhome units. Ray Centeno has lived across the street from the factory for roughly 30 years. His birthday falls on Halloween and says the holiday has brought about some of his favorite memories as thousands lined up for full-size candy bars each October. While he is relieved the Spanish Revival style structure on Oak Park Avenue is protected by landmark status, he says more housing is not ideal and shares what he feels could benefit the community.
My preference, which I have brought up to several of the meetings which I have attended, is mostly important is like a ambulance house south of the track here due to the amount of residents that live within the area of Oak Park, Harlem Avenue, in North Avenue, and Dickens Street. A lot of times my wife and I would be sitting out here in the front or she'd be doing her plannings and there's a big commercial type train going by and ambulance was called or fire department and they get stuck right there in the train tracks and I'm talking for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Do you want to be getting ill or have your house in fire and the fire department can't get through?
Other neighbors are recommending a state-of-the-art library or sports complex. Tonight's meeting runs from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the Redeemer Church. It's being hosted by the Galewood Montclair Community Organization. Residents tonight planning to brainstorm ideas and come up with a proposal of their own. We've reached out once again to Mars Wrigley and McCaffrey Interests for comment, but have not yet heard back. Reporting live in Galewood, Casey Cronus, Fox Chicago.
There's a protest happening right now outside NIPSCO's headquarters in Maryville.
People are pretty angry about their utility bills, and they say they want financial relief.
Brett Begancy's been on top of this for weeks. So Brett, what are people saying out there?
They're angry, they're frustrated, they're really just worried about how they're going to make their next NIPSCO payment, which is why several people have been out here since the early afternoon making their voices heard and sending a direct message to NIPSCO President Vince Parisi. What makes this protest a little tricky is there's no sidewalk here, and you have Maryville police officers directing traffic and making sure that nobody stands out in the street, but there's really no way to get in front of NIPSCO headquarters other than to stand in the snow. But earlier today, we had a public hearing in Indianapolis, and this was an investigation into NIPSCO regarding their billing practices. And the company's under investigation from the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission for what's called billing discrepancies involving their automated gas meters, and the company allegedly giving no explanation to their customers for why this was happening. So several of our viewers in Northwest Indiana have been sending us their NIPSCO bills. They've been reporting that their bills have either doubled, even tripled over a year. And I spoke to some who are out here protesting right now. They told me it's impacted them so much, they're choosing between eating and keeping their heat on. Others tell me their NIPSCO bills are higher than their mortgage. If you had a message for the president of NIPSCO, Vince Parisi, what would it be?
It would be shame on you. It would be shame on you, sir. I know you don't have to worry about heat. I know you don't have to worry about eating. I know you don't have to worry about medicine. But everybody else here does.
And you need to wake up, buddy. I don't know what you're doing, but this is not right. I don't know where you're at. You have a little office over there. What do you think he has? I'm not sure, you know. But yeah, you know, this is just ridiculous.
As you hear a lot of people not mincing words about how they feel about the recent NIPSCO bill, so I've once again reached out to the company for comment, as well as a request for an on-camera interview with Vince Parisi, the company president. I'm still waiting to hear back. But the other thing that we kept hearing today is demands or ultimatums. So the man you're hearing speaking behind me is Kevin Mejia. We've had him on Fox Chicago quite a bit. He's one of the first people who's reached out to us about their high NIPSCO bills here. And some of the demands that they were talking about is for the company to take action right now. Otherwise, they said there are going to be more planned protests, not only in Northwest Indiana, but he's calling on the nation to do protests right outside here of company headquarters here in Maryville. The other thing is that they were talking about is to vote state lawmakers out of office, especially the ones depending on where they stood on the NIPSCO issue, because one of the things that they talked about in Indianapolis was giving them some financial relief and needing that right away. But right now, the Republican-controlled legislature in Indianapolis decided to not take action on that for now. But they said that they're going to be out here until there was a planned protest until 6 o'clock tonight. But just heard from Kevin Mejia saying that they're going to be out here all night doing speeches, doing Facebook Lives, what have you. But that is what's happening right now. But it's been a peaceful protest outside here in Maryville, Indiana. That's where we're live tonight. Brett Pagansky, Fox Chicago.
All right, Brett, thank you. A new report says half of Chicago parents had trouble paying their energy bills last year. This is happening during one of the coldest winters we've seen in decades.
It also found that parents are cutting expenses from food, rent, or even medicine to pay their energy bills, something Brett also just talked about. So what's going on? We are joined by Marie Heffernan. She's with the Lurie Children's Hospital, part of that study. Marie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so tell us about the study and why you guys decided to do it in the first place. You obviously have seen some issues in the past and decided to look into it.
Yes, so for this study, we surveyed 500 parents from the city of Chicago. So these are parents who have children living in the household. And we asked them about their energy bills and their experiences paying their energy bills last year. And we also asked them about their heating practices for their home.
Let's go over some of the findings. I believe we have a graphic with some of the things you found out in this report. Walk us through some of these. 13% of parents paid an extra fee for late energy bill payments. 10% of parents received an energy disconnection notice. What other findings stood out to you?
Right. Well, I think one of the main findings that stood out to me was that half of Chicago parents experience energy insecurity. And so that is when a family faces difficulties paying their energy bill to heat or cool their home. And so half of parents experienced at least one of these things on this list. And the top most common ones were reducing expenses for other household items so that they could afford to pay their energy bill. That includes things, just like you mentioned before, like rent, food, medicine, transportation, so that they could afford their energy bill during the winter.
Yeah, so that number was at 26% of parents. Also, I understand that you say they use space heaters, which is another concern for obvious reason, fire safety. What's the take home from the study, and what is the solution, most importantly?
Yes, I think one of the take homes of the study is that there is such a large proportion of Chicago families who are experiencing one or more form of energy insecurity, and the importance of using safe heating practices to heat their homes to keep everybody in the family safe and healthy this winter. So space heaters were one of the second most common types of heating mechanisms that parents were using, and they can be really dangerous if they're not used properly.
What's next for Lurie Children's? Working on any other research, any other studies that you can talk about or share with us?
Yes, so one of the goals of this group, my project, Voices of Child Health in Communities, is to survey parents. We survey parents in Chicago, in Illinois, and nationally about various topics that affect child and adolescent and family health and well-being. So we have more topics to come, and we're launching a survey next week that will go to a national sample. So I'd be happy to come back and chat with you about those results too.
Well, thank you so much. We look forward to hearing from you, and keep doing what you're doing, because I think it reveals some major problems, and there desperately needs to be a way to find some solutions. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Still to come, election officials are issuing a warning ahead of the Illinois primary, the change that could threaten mail-in ballots.
President Trump signs the new funding deal into law, but it comes with a big asterisk. We'll explain after the break.
A restaurant in Chicago is forced to close just hours after celebrating their grand opening. Tia has what happened to them just ahead. All right, let's take a live look outside. Emily, if someone's heading out later, does today get trickier or calmer?
Well, it just depends on where you're at. So out in the city right now in Chicago, I don't know if you saw from that little glimpse of the skyline there, we had just a hint of blue skies. So a lot of the cloud cover that we're dealing with is actually lake-enhanced cloud cover. So for locations closer to the lakefront, that's where we're seeing some light snow flurries, a little bit of cloud cover. But then for those of you in Northwest Indiana, places like Lake County, from Gary down toward Lowell, you can see right along 65, we're dealing with some lake effect snow that's coming down. Not a lot, but it's certainly going to be enough to create slick conditions out there. Any untreated surfaces will become slick. So Northwest Indiana right now seeing the majority of those snow showers. Your temperatures are currently sitting in the 20s. We are running cooler across Northwest Indiana, only 22 degrees currently in Valparaiso, but it's 27 at O'Hare. Futurecast taking us throughout the rest of this evening. The cloud cover, the lake effect, that's going to be coming to an end, tapering off, and then temperatures by 9 or 10 p.m. going to begin to drop into the teens. So it is going to be a cold night for us. And then tomorrow, we have yet another quick moving system that's going to be bringing a quick shot of snow to us. So about a half inch or less of accumulation is expected on Thursday for those of us that do end up seeing that snow. So it's going to be a fast mover, minimal impacts. Temperatures should be topping out right around 30 degrees. There's going to be a few of us that come pretty close to the freezing mark. For tonight, 14 degrees. We'll have westerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your 5-day forecast tomorrow, 31, 38 on Friday. So nice and mild, but that is coming along with scattered snow showers, possibly mixing in with some sleet, maybe even a little bit of rain. And then going into the weekend, we're cool on Saturday, but 30s and then 40s are on tap for early next week. Back to you.
All right, Emily, thank you. The man who tried to kill President Trump got life in prison.
59-year-old Ryan Wesley Roth was found guilty last year of trying to assassinate Trump at his West Palm Beach golf course in 2024. He was caught hiding in shrubbery, aiming a rifle as President Trump played golf at his West Palm Beach Country Club. This incident came months after another attempt on the president's life in Pennsylvania. Roth's attorney says they plan to appeal.
The Trump administration is pulling back federal immigration enforcement in Minnesota. Tom Homan, the White House border czar, says 700 immigration officers are leaving the state right now as part of a shift in how they're operating in the Twin Cities. He says this is happening because state and local law enforcement are cooperating more. They're agreeing to hand over arrested immigrants to federal custody.
My goal with the support of President Trump is to achieve a complete drawdown and end this surge as soon as we can. But that is largely contingent upon the end of the illegal and threatening activities against ICE and its federal partners that we're seeing in the community.
State and local officials dispute that. They say most protesters are following the law. Governor Tim Walz called the drawdown a step in the right direction. He still wants an independent investigation into the shooting deaths of Alex Preddy and Renee Good.
A partial government shutdown has ended. President Trump signed a $1.2 trillion funding bill last night. However, Congress only funded the Department of Homeland Security through Friday the 13th, giving lawmakers time to pass immigration enforcement reforms. If the two parties are not able to reach a compromise by then, there will be another shutdown, but just for that department.
We can get to an agreement. I certainly hope that's true. And if they have any intention of trying to keep these other agencies of government closed, it will be a fool's errand.
If Republicans refuse to make the changes the American people are demanding, they are forcing a Republican shutdown of DHS.
Homeland Security includes a whole host of agencies not connected with immigration enforcement, such as FEMA and the TSA. Democrats have demands. Lawmakers have 9 days to agree on funding for ICE and the Department of Homeland Security. Paris is here to help us break this all down.
Yeah, you know, Sylvia, you just mentioned what's going on in Washington. Groundhog Day happens once a year, but when it comes to government shutdowns, it's like every couple of weeks, right? So this deal is they have this time to talk about how they're going to fund Homeland Security and ICE and Border Patrol, and Democrats are using this to try and enact big changes to these deportation efforts. I spoke with Illinois Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth, who was present yesterday for Marimar Martinez's testimony on Capitol Hill. She told her harrowing story of being shot 5 times, almost dying, but ultimately surviving, and then having her case being completely dropped by the Department of Justice. What Duckworth says is her red line here on supporting a bill would be some kind of independent process to investigate potential wrongdoing from ICE or immigration agents. She does not trust that DHS would just do that now. So there has to be some kind of inspector general if she's going to agree to any funding. And this is indicative of the kind of demands Democrats are making. Some of them also want to make sure that you have to have judicial warrants if you're going to do a deportation, which would really narrow the scope of this deportation effort. Here's what Senator Duckworth had to say a couple hours earlier with me.
We're talking about out of control, undertrained ICE agents with no guardrails on them, terrorizing the streets of our cities. And I'm hearing from people, you know, in Illinois who are telling me this needs to end. Put some guardrails up, and that's what I'm attempting to do.
Now, it's not just disagreements between Republicans and Democrats, but it's disagreement among Democrats. Some want to abolish ICE, some just want these reforms. So how are they going to come to a majority and prevent a DHS shutdown, which would include TSA workers, so it could hit the nation's air traffic. So another game of chicken over the next 9 days.
Yeah. Paris, I want to talk to you about something else since you're here. The teachers union member, President Stacey Davis Gates, taking a leave. Do we know what's going on here?
Late last night, the union sent a memo to their members saying that Stacey Davis Gates immediately would be on leave. She would no longer be serving as president of the CTU. In the interim, the vice president, Jackson Potter, would serve. And they're saying it's health issues. And the teachers union did issue a statement to us today. They said President Davis Gates shared with her members that she'll be on planned anticipated temporary medical leave. During that time, Vice President Potter, as well as the other officers, will temporarily provide leadership for the union. I mean, it does come at a stressful time for the union. They are very politically influential. You know how close they are with Mayor Johnson and several elected leaders. There's the search for a new CPS superintendent, which CTU has been involved with. And then there's been some federal scrutiny on the union's finances and audits. But we're told it's not related to any of that, that Ms. Davis Gates has health issues that she needs to tend to. And of course, health comes first for everybody. We wish the best of health for everybody and a rapid recovery, of course.
Did they say how long she's going to be out?
They did not, but they just said in the interim she is not running the union for now.
Okay, thank you, Paris.
You got it.
Well, the White House is opening up. They can't seem to settle on a message about the president's plan to federalize national elections.
Now, some lawmakers are saying it's just a bad idea, while others are insisting that it's about protecting American democracy. Lucas Tomlinson has more from Washington.
They can administer the election, but they have to do it honestly.
President Trump speaking bluntly in the Oval Office about his suggestion that elections be taken over by Republicans in at least 15 Democratic-run areas and then nationalized. The president first made those comments on a podcast Monday night. Then on Tuesday, his press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, tried to walk back his remarks, explaining that the president was referring to the SAVE Act, which would mandate voter ID in nationwide elections.
The president believes in the United States Constitution. However, he believes there has obviously been a lot of fraud and irregularities.
But just hours later, the president doubled down on his election takeover talk, claiming he doesn't understand why the feds don't already control the polls.
If a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it. Because, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections.
Those remarks immediately condemned by Democrats on Capitol Hill, who pointed out the Constitution mandates the states run elections, not the federal government.
It is inappropriate for the president to advocate for actions that are wholly at odds with the Constitution and 2.5 centuries of state and local elections.
But across the aisle, Republicans say this shouldn't be a political issue.
These are very important things to ensure that our elections are free and fair and safe.
The president appointed National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard to oversee election security as part of a, quote, whole-of-government effort. In Washington, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox Chicago.
Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle is gaining a major endorsement today. More than 100 clergy leaders gathered at Quinn Chapel AME Church to publicly confirm their collective endorsement. Religious leaders say amid growing threats to SNAP benefits, health care access, and immigration protections, this election represents a defining moral moment for Cook County. Preckwinkle has held office as Cook County Board President since 2010. She is the first black woman to be elected in that role. Illinois' primary election is March 17th. Holly Kim also received an endorsement from a coalition of Chicago area pastors and churches. Kim is currently the Lake County Treasurer and is running for Illinois Controller.
Mail-in ballots start going out tomorrow. The county clerk's office is warning voters, though, about a major change before the primary. The U.S. Postal Service changed how it processes postmarks back on December 24th. Instead of stamping letters and packages the day they're dropped off, postmarks now get applied at large processing facilities. So that means it could take days before your postmark gets stamped. This matters because tax returns, health insurance appeals, and mail-in ballots could miss deadlines.
While this change has been described as minor, its impact on elections could be anything but. In Illinois, vote-by-mail ballots must be postmarked by Election Day and received within 14 days in order to be counted. Under this new policy, voters who do everything right, who mail their ballot in, or even days before Election Day, could still see their ballot postmarked too late and therefore not be counted. That is why we're issuing a clear call to action for mail ballot voters. Do not wait until the final days or Election Day to mail your ballot. If possible, take your ballot directly to your local post office and request that it is postmarked at the counter when you drop it off.
Voters can use 55 secure drop boxes across the county starting March 2nd. That's the first day of early voting. The boxes stay open until 7 p.m. Election Day.
Well, if you haven't seen a car driving itself just yet, chances are you will soon.
It is an industry growing at high speeds, and Congress is hoping to catch up.
Plus, a sign of spring. The Southside Irish Parade's 2026 Grand Marshal and Parade honorees are announced. How the selections are honoring first responders. Right now on the news at 4, keeping ICE out. The latest push in Illinois to regulate the hiring of ICE agents.
Plus, an important note about property tax payments, the new deadline every homeowner needs to hear.
But first, a local restaurant just celebrating their grand opening 48 hours ago.
When they got there this morning, the door was wide open. That's because a burglar knocked it off the hinges.
Now, the founders say it's already a tough industry, and situations like that make it hard to stay afloat. Tia's here with more on what happened. Tia.
Well, all of this happened when we were actually sleeping. So it was around 4:30 this morning when it kicked off. This burglar was on the prowl, only open for 2 days, as Sylvia said. So Vibe Signature in Chicago's River North neighborhood says the burglar had the nerve to have really expensive taste. Now, this is surveillance video inside that restaurant in the 400 block of North Wells. You see the burglar making his way through the restaurant with a huge kitchen knife in tow. He used it to cut the cords for the surveillance system, but cameras still captured his every move. He also used the knife to get away with $500 from the cash registers.
He took knives and he just bam through everything, took out all the cash drawers, the money. He took liquor. He went through the liquors and chose the liquors that he wanted, Don Julio, like the expensive liquors. He didn't just, we're sitting here talking about a picky thief.
Now, the owners say the suspect cut through locks, security systems, and wiring, damaging the restaurant's computer and point of sale systems. After doing some digging, they believe the same individual may have targeted another nearby restaurant at a similar time. This was a few months ago. Despite the setback, the owners say they are determined to reopen as quickly as possible and continue serving the community with love, laughter, and a whole lot of soul food.
It's going to cost us roughly anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,000 to get everything back up and running, and he pretty much probably only got out of here with like $300 to $500 worth of cash or product, right? So he did all this for $500. In the long end, it costs us the business owners over $2,000 probably to get all this stuff back and up and running.
Now, So Vibe Signature is back open. That's some good news. The owners are out of thousands, as you heard, to fix what was damaged. Chicago police are investigating exactly what happened. Terrence?
All right, Tia, thank you. 5 families are taking their calls for justice to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. They say police brutality killed their loved ones. They want State Attorney Eileen O'Neillberg to charge the officers. Some of these families have demanded justice before. This video from earlier this month shows the family of Timothy Calais protesting in front of the Chicago police station. Police shot Calais 16 times inside an apartment in Little Village last January. The officers never faced charges because police say Calais came at them with a knife. O'Neillberg hasn't responded yet to the rally that happened this morning. The average training period for an immigration officer is 47 days.
So compare that to the 2-year training period that's required before a cadet can become certified as a Chicago police officer. In response to the ongoing violence playing out on city streets across the country, State Senator Lauren Fine of Evanston and Glenview is pushing for new legislation. It would ban any ICE agent from becoming a law enforcement officer in the state of Illinois. Senator Fine says the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy are proof ICE agents are not trained to de-escalate.
The realities are that these murders and the devastation that we're seeing is preventable. And while the stories of Renee and Alex are very prominent, they're not isolated incidents. ICE's violence has escalated with one major contributing factor, and that being their training and their recruitment practices.
The Illinois Republican Party is opposed to Senate Bill 2820, calling it soft on crime legislation. Usually, Cook County's first installment of property bills are sent out at the beginning of February, and then they're due March 1st. But this year, the timeline is shifting. Bills aren't expected to be mailed out until early March, so everything else is going to be adjusted. Payments will not be due until April 1st. The Illinois General Assembly authorized this one-time adjustment to give taxpayers more time between their property tax deadlines. Last year's second installment bills were also delayed. Cook County says it's efforting to modernize, its technology, and it's led to system-level issues that slowed the billing process by nearly 4 months.
All right, let's take a breather, take a look outside. Yeah, very gray.
It's gray.
Excuse me. I don't know what I was about to say. There's is that like a little glimpse of
It's
the
a little
sun
glimmer
hitting that
of
building?
the sun.
Yeah.
Very cloudy today, though, right?
Very cloudy, especially closer to the lakefront. So a lot of what we're dealing with right now are actually lake effect clouds. So that's why we are so cloudy over the city of Chicago. However, that should be changing here throughout this evening. We're going to see our skies becoming partly cloudy. For those of you in Northwest Indiana, Lake, Porter, Newton, and Jasper counties, you're seeing some lake effect that's streaming in. So, of course, any untreated surfaces going to become snow covered and slick out there. For tonight, that lake effect is going to come to an end. Temps are going to drop to about 14 degrees. And in the next couple of days, we have warmer temperatures on tap. We're going up to the upper 30s on Friday, but both Thursday and Friday coming along with a chance of snow, maybe even mixing in with some sleet by Friday. Back to you.
The Southside Irish Parade is 5 weeks away. It's Sunday, March 15th.
This is the 48th annual event, and this year's Grand Marshal is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. The nonprofit was created in honor of New York firefighter Stephen Siller.
Tunnel to Towers was born out of the tragedy of 9/11. On that fateful morning, New York City firefighter Stephen Siller had just finished his shift in Brooklyn. He was on his way to Staten Island to play golf with his brothers when he got word over his radio that a plane had hit the North Tower of the World Trade Center. He immediately called his wife Sally, said, "Call the brothers, tell them I'll be in later. I got to go back to work." He went back to his firehouse to join his unit, which had already been dispatched. So he grabbed his gear, threw it in the back of his truck, and he drove to go into Lower Manhattan. When he got to the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, it was already closed for security purposes. Undeterred, Stephen put on 60 pounds of firefighter gear and ran the 1.7 miles through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel into the South Tower of the World Trade Center to do whatever he could to help. The tower collapsed. Stephen's body was never recovered. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation makes this promise. If you are a member of our first responder community, or if you're a member of our military, and you kiss your children goodbye in the morning, and you don't make it home from your shift, Tunnel to Towers Foundation will provide your family with a mortgage-free home.
Over the past 25 years, that foundation has provided more than 1,700 mortgage-free homes to Gold Star and fallen first responder families across the nation, including former Chicago police officer Carlos Yanez Jr., who was critically wounded in the August 2021 shooting that left his partner, Ella French, dead. And keeping with the honoring of first responders and recognizing 25 years since the 9/11 attacks, the Southside Irish Parade also selected St. Christina Parish as the 2026 parade honoree. Many of Chicago's first responders and recipients of the Tunnels to Tower call this parish home. The Mount Greenwood Church is also celebrating its centennial. The Southside Irish Parade will be held March 15th. It kicks off at noon at 103rd and Western Avenue.
This is the 100th Black History Month. It started as Negro History Week in 1926. Historian Carter G. Woodson created it at the Wabash YMCA in Bronzeville. Woodson went to the University of Chicago. He believed learning Black history was essential to learning American history. He chose February because of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln's birthdays. Both played a major role in Black history. The week.
This is not just about a celebration, it's a reminder, and it is a moment of responsibility. At a time where history is being whitewashed, as civil liberties are being rolled back, when the Black experience and people are being questioned and erased, it is more important than ever that we tell the truth about who we are and our contributions to this country. Black history is not optional, it is not supplemental, it is American history.
By the way, the week became a full month in 1976. Cook County leaders gathered today to mark that milestone. The celebration had live music, and the county building is also lined with African-American flags.
Illinois State Treasurer Michael Frerichs also hosted a celebration today honoring local leaders in the community. Honorees included Illinois Economic Development CEO Christy George and Chicago Hope football coach Christopher Maletti. Dr. Wilson is helping inmates Willie Wilson, that is, at the Cook County Jail. Today, he donated $15,000 to 600 inmates. That's $25 per person. He says this will let them get necessities such as toothpaste, soap, and other toiletries. Willie Wilson says he is also focused on what everyone can do to cut down on the rising population inside the jail. We're going to hear from him ahead on the news at 5.
The major averages finished mixed on Wall Street. The Dow came back in the final hour of trading. Chip stocks got hit with more selling. Investors are concerned about AI disrupting software and data companies. Amazon reports earnings tomorrow after the close.
The future of self-driving vehicles was all the talk today on Capitol Hill.
Senate Commerce Committee held a hearing on how to use the tech to compete with China and keep American roads safe. Here's Caroline Shively.
If you haven't seen a car driving itself yet, chances are you will soon.
Like it or not, they're here, and they will be central to the future of roadways.
Those driverless cars get everyone's attention, including lawmakers. And Wednesday, they heard from executives with Waymo and Tesla. One big question, which is the safer driver, a car or a human?
Our driver is 10 times less likely to be involved in a serious injury or worse crash compared to human drivers.
Fundamentally, what we're trying to do with safety is we're trying to overcome human error.
While the technology is advancing rapidly, the cars are far from foolproof. Last month, a Tesla in San Francisco stopped suddenly on a bridge, causing an 8-car pileup. And in Texas, the NTSB opened an investigation into Waymos caught illegally blowing past stopped school buses.
We take those incidents very seriously. Safety is our top priority, especially the safety of children and pedestrians.
The companies in this field are necessarily saying to regulators and to the public, trust us. And that needs to come with substance, right? With great power comes great responsibility.
While U.S. companies are competitive when it comes to supervised self-driving, they warn China could soon dominate manufacturing truly autonomous vehicles.
The People's Republic of China is devoting massive resources. It is not waiting to find out what American policymakers want to do.
Lawmakers are hoping to pass one set of federal safety standards to put the high-tech cars on the fast track. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox Chicago.
Still to come, a chance to grab a free engagement ring valued at $15,000.
First, Chicago State University is preparing for a big night. The announcement concerning its new football program.
And an emotional celebration will introduce you to the 2026 Illinois Principal of the Year.
It's starting the day with hope, knowing you're in the right place, having access to advanced treatments and the most experienced cancer experts. When you're facing cancer, it's not just one thing that makes the difference. It's everything. The big, the small, the unexpected that helps you keep moving forward. Advocate Healthcare. Cancer care that makes the difference.
The principal at Charles W. Earlston Elementary School got quite the surprise today.
Yeah, take a look.
It's my pleasure to announce on behalf of the 7,000 school leaders that make up the IPA that your principal, Miss Regina Latimer Lake, someone who works tirelessly and dedicates herself to do what is best for you, your teachers, and your entire learning community, has been selected as the Illinois. And when I say Illinois, I mean the whole state, okay? That's right. She has been selected as the Illinois Elementary Principal of the Year.
I love being here. I love our school. I wouldn't want to be at any other space. I wouldn't want to serve in any other school but this school and this community. This community matters to me. Every single person is here. You all matter to me. And I just feel so blessed and just overwhelmed. I don't think I've ever been this overwhelmed before in my life.
Oh, well, Principal Latimer Lake has dedicated more than 20 years to serving Chicago public schools. Starting her career as a teacher, her son was there as well today to share just how much his mom means to him and the community.
I know you lose sleep over this job. I know that there are nights you forget to eat because you're thinking about a student, a teacher, a family, or a decision you have to make the next day. And I just want you to know, all of this matters. All of this sacrifice is going to a great cause. I've seen students stop you and just say thank you. I've seen the respect people have to you. Even when you don't realize it, you're not just leading a school, you're changing lives. So today, I just want to give you your flowers. Thank you for being an incredible principal. Thank you for being a leader, but most importantly, thank you for being my mom. You're always there for me, even when you're working, even when you're tired, even when the world is pulling you from every direction. I'm proud of you. I'm thankful for you. And I'm honored to call you my mother.
Oh my gosh, how beautiful was that? So Principal Latimer Lake will also be recognized at the IPA's Education Leaders Annual Conference in October. How sweet. And sounds like well-deserved, right? Look at her. That's great.
A big night for Chicago State University. The school's new football program is building its first recruiting class. They're holding a signing day ceremony. It's happening tonight at 6 on the south side. They're expecting at least a dozen commitments. The players are from Indiana, Arizona, Virginia, and Georgia. Head coach Bobby Rome is leading the program.
The strategy that we kind of took towards this class is to go out and find the best available talent. We wanted to bring those young men back here to Chicago, develop those young men, and also go out in the city and find local talent that's available and also talent from surrounding cities. We wanted to bring in guys that were close, that understood that it was pouring the concrete and the foundation for this legacy, for the start of this new program, and we got some young men that were excited about doing that. So the coaching staff did an amazing job recruiting, hitting the ground rolling as soon as they got here, and to be able to bring in this type of talent, the type of talent we was able to sign, I'm very proud and very thrilled.
CSU's team will be Chicago's first and only Division I football program. They'll start playing this season. Home games are at SeatGeek Stadium.
We're also following some breaking news for you. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, let's find out what you can expect with your forecast. A little snow depending on where you are. It looks like the sun's trying to break before it decides to go to sleep for the night.
Yeah,
Emily,
that's
is that what's
right.
happening there?
Yeah, we didn't see a ton of sunshine out there today, especially closer to the lakefront. But farther west, places like DeKalb, Kane County picked up a little bit of sun today. We are going to see some of these clouds clearing out over the next few hours, but for right now, we are still dealing with lake effect snow that's coming down across northwest Indiana. High temperatures today, we ended up topping out in the upper 20s to low 30s. An average for this time of the year now sits right around 33 degrees. So we are slightly below that today. Out there right now, we are just a little bit cooler, sitting at 26 degrees currently at O'Hare, 23 is what we are now down to in Woodstock, 27 in Gary, 25 in Michigan City. It's only 22 degrees currently in Valparaiso. Your 5-day forecast here, warmer days ahead. So we are looking at low 30s tomorrow, again, very seasonable. And then by Friday, we're expected to be in the upper 30s before a brief cool down just in time for the weekend. On Saturday, we're looking at highs that are only going to be in the mid-20s, but then Sunday beginning to see that warming trend again. And then I know your eyes are already looking at Monday. 44 degrees is the expected high temperature. And then even looking beyond Monday, this is your temperature outlook from Tuesday through Saturday, which is the 10th, through Valentine's Day on the 14th. And you can see that we are very strongly favored to see those above average conditions. So next week, we're going to have several days with temperatures that are in the 40s for highs. And there's a couple models that are even trying to bring 50s into the mix. So we could be very warm next week. The radar right now, we have lake effect snow that's coming down, especially across northwest Indiana. Places like Lake County from Gary all the way down into northern Newton and Jasper counties, western Porter County. Places like Valparaiso also dealing with some of that lake effect. It is rather light, but any untreated surfaces, of course, going to become snow covered and slick. Satellite and radar zooming things out a bit. Again, still dealing with some of that cloud cover, but the clouds, they should clear out briefly before yet another wave moves in tomorrow. So a fast moving Clipper system is going to come through on Thursday, bringing in some light to moderate snow, but it should be very brief, just a couple hour window that we're seeing that snowfall. And then taking us into the afternoon and evening, we're drying things out. Temperatures going into your Friday. Remember, that's when it gets pretty warm during the day. We're counting on highs in the upper 30s, but it's still going to be coming along with the chance of some precipitation. So we have a snow chance, but there could actually be a little bit of sleet, maybe even some rain mixing in at times with those warmer temperatures at play. So we're looking at upper 30s for your high temperatures on Friday. Going into the weekend, we have high pressure building in, so that's going to clear out some of the cloud cover. For tonight, 14 degrees. We will have westerly winds, 5 to 10 miles per hour. 7-day forecast tomorrow, 31, 38 degrees on Friday. A wintry mix possible, but I do think the primary form of precipitation is likely going to be in the form of snow. On Saturday, some sunshine, 24 degrees, 31 expected on Sunday, then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, looking very mild. We are going to be in the 40s for your highs. Back to you.
40s.
Wow, that sounds, and 45, look at that.
Looking good.
Ooh.
Turn on my air conditioner.
We got the shorts.
Exactly. Okay, while many people opt to find the perfect engagement ring in a jewelry store, one sports bar suggests taking a look inside an arcade game instead.
All right, so to celebrate Valentine's Day, Dave & Buster's is placing 5 diamond rings inside a human crane game.
Yes, at select locations, participants can search for 3-carat rings hidden inside a life-size claw machine worth $15,000 each.
Wow.
The human crane is a full-body experience that lowers guests into a pit of oversized prizes.
Yes.
It really does, where they can try to grab what they can before being pulled up. The entertainment venue says it wants to make popping the question a bold and memorable experience for guests. And we did look this up, and apparently you cannot do this locally. So we don't have it here
too bad.
in our viewing
I wonder
area,
what else is in there besides the ring, like,
Right.
you know,
'Cause
right?
I'm thinking, like, what if you have no
award
one
or
to
something.
propose to and you get the ring? I guess you just sell it or
there you
keep
go.
it?
I think you pay $20 to do it, and then the hope is that you'll be lucky enough to find the ring.
Dang, I'm disappointed that it's not.
I know. I said the same.
Okay. All right. On Monday, we told you about a new survey suggesting that you opt out of spending a lot of money for Valentine's Day, and it said write your partner a heartfelt letter. But today we have another option.
One where you can get a bit dirty, earn a prize, and break a sweat. Not that kind of dirty.
Wild Blossom Meadery is offering the
love mead
ultimate wine experience, and it's a bit of a competition. So Jake got the details on the search for Chicago's juiciest couple.
Listen, anybody can order a bottle of wine at a restaurant. It takes a special someone to make that bottle of wine, and that's what their Valentine's Day winemaking experience is all about. You get dinner for two, but more importantly, you get the entire winemaking, wine blending experience. And let's be honest, guys, you know a huge part of that experience is the mashing of the grapes.
Now, I feel like people have seen this a lot in pop culture, whether it be viral videos or I Love Lucy. Yeah. But for someone who's never done it before, can you walk me through the process of what happens?
First, we have to have our stopping gear. So everybody gets a little stopping gear, so a little there. So you want to pop your stopping.
I'm sorry, are those fairly standard when it comes to grape stopping?
Yes, everybody gets some stopping gear here.
Several pairs of those. I think well done. Well done.
Now, the thing is to stop every grape. So we're looking for the juiciest couple for
So it ends up being a competition with all the couples that are going to be out here for
so
Valentine's
the couples,
Day.
will be mounting a stomping bucket together.
Okay.
And which other couple?
I mean, if that's not love on Valentine's Day, Greg Fisher, I don't know what is. All right, show me the process.
So basically, you need to stomp on the grapes and kind of break
I urge you to not create a new viral video, Greg Fisher.
Yeah, don't fall. Actually, we usually hold on each one.
Wow, it is a whole process.
And you got to stomp every grape, because if you leave a grape behind, you're leaving juice behind.
The end of the experience whenever people are coming out here, usually right before dinner, right?
And then the winners will go home with a fabulous prize.
This stuff. I love the matching undies. You can watch more of Jake's interview online at fox32chicago.com and catch him live on every single morning, right here on Good Day Chicago.
He is not stomping grapes, by the way.
No.
But that does it for the news at 4.
Yeah, coming up on the news at 5, new evidence uncovered at the home of Savannah Guthrie's mother. We're talking with TMZ after this break.